talk about how to adjust to life in Canada. And because we are all here, so we're going to be talking to ourselves being here, how we will be able to settle. And we'll take questions at the end of this seminar. If you have any questions, please feel free to start putting it down so that we can be able to address everything. So I put here that the important information that we need to understand as we arrive as immigrants. I know we're coming from different countries, and we're all well established. Everybody are professionals from the countries where they have moved out from, and then moving into Canada as an immigrant and settling into this place can be really daunting. It's really challenging, and it will test so many things in you. But the bottom line is, while you are moving, there must be a shift or an orientation that you need to have, different from where you are. Because while in Canada, Canada is actually a multicultural society. And because you are moving from a different culture into another culture, you need to be able to find that balance whereby you'll be able to sync those two cultures together. And you will begin to change the orientation and how you take things, how you do things. So you need to make that shift. It is very important. It is not easy, I know. So many people have come in here as adults. And when I say adults, I'm not talking about young adults, as in senior adults. And making changes can be really difficult because you can't teach an old man new tricks, can you? Can you teach an old man new tricks? It's difficult, but we need to teach ourselves. So the first thing I want to say that is important is that we should plan to spend less. We should plan to spend less. There are so many ways to find settlement easily. When you begin to spend as if you've been living here for more than 5 or 10 years, then you're making a great mistake. You need to find avenues to spend less so that you are not incurring so much of expenses as a new immigrant. Spending, when I say spend less, you need to look at how to cut your budget, how to cut your cost, how to make sure that you are fine-tuning your expenses in the barest minimum. Initial settlements can bring or make you spend more. You know, there are so many things that you're trying to put together to settle. You are trying to find accommodation, you are trying to buy things to fit up your home. Even doing that, you must be considerate in the things that you settle. Don't try and export a kind of full settlement way of living from your country and want to import it here from the get-go. You have to make sure that it's a gradual settlement process. So that's why I said spend less. Try and find things that will help you spend less and be able to settle gradually. The second thing I would say is that you should limit your financial exposure. You should limit your financial exposure. So many of us, I know most of us are Nigerians here, we don't spend what we don't have. That's the truth. We spend from our debit cards. Most of us got exposed to credit while in Canada. And we should try and manage that expectation here too. Don't feel that because the banks give you credit card, it is free money to spend. It is not your money. It is not your money. So the expectation should be different. I know people can approach you, don't worry, they'll give you credit card, they'll give you credit card, they'll give you credit card. Spend, you need to spend it, you need to get credit card. But when you spend it, pay it back. I will come to that when I'm talking about, or I can just mention, when we talk about credit score or credit, building credit history, you need a credit card. So you must get a credit card. But you must not use it as if it is your money. That's the difference. You need to build credit history by using your credit card, then pay it back. There's a cycle of 21 days with the bank. So pay it back when you use it. If you know you will forget, as you use it, pay it back. But if you know you won't forget, just note the cycle of the 21 days. And the 21 days doesn't mean you spend today, it's 21 days after, or when you spend 2 weeks time, it's 21 days after. It is not. Your bank has a cycle. Like in RBC, for instance, this is by the 3rd of the new month, that is when your statement will typically be sent to you by the 15th of the month, and they give you till the 3rd of the new month to pay it back. So pay it back before the 3rd, because there's also a time margin for it to get into your account if you are moving money from different banks. Then we also have to, I'm talking about like important information first. There's a shift that you need to understand, that you are relocating, you are not on vacation. When you are moving to a new country, you are relocating, you are not on vacation. So you must be very, plan the expenditure wisely. When you're on vacation, you just want to splurge. You are going back to your job now. Probably in Nigeria, for instance, when you're going on vacation, you still get paid your salary. You still get paid your vacation expense, leave allowance. So you want to splurge because you know that whatever you have saved up for this vacation, you are going to get it when you come back to work. Or you just get an alert in your account that you are not at work, but your money is getting in that. They don't pay like that here in Canada. Your vacation pay is spread across your regular income. You don't go on vacation and get a lump sum of money coming to you. It is spread into your account, into your regular expenses. So we need to understand that and begin to plan wisely. So let's move on to talking about one of the adjustments that I talked about is cultural and social integration. Embracing the Canadian multiculturalism here. We need to embrace our new culture. We need to understand the new culture that we have come into. Don't let us be fixated in our old culture. I know I talked about us coming as grown adults. We are already adults. It's difficult for us to change some things, but we must change. We must make that shift. There are different ways in which things are done in your country, and there are different ways in which things are done here in Canada. So you must make that change. You must be conscious about it. Embrace different cultures. We are from Africa. There are Ghanaians. There are people that are also Indians. There are Pakistanis. There are Chinese. There are different people. Everybody comes with their own culture, rich culture. Very rich culture. We need to learn, and that's why we need to be open-minded and understand how to network with other people. And that way, it helps us, appreciate those cultures better. When you begin to speak to maybe an Indian, they tell you how rich their culture is. Some people tell you that it's the woman that marries the man, not the man that marries. Then you begin to wonder how, why. You learn, you are not meant to condemn those cultures. You are meant to understand and appreciate them. Then you know how to respect them based on their culture. No culture is better than the other. Cultures are rich on itself. So we need to appreciate those cultures and, just make sure that, those relationships are built from those cultures. You respect each person and how you relate with them. So we need to embrace culturalism. We need to learn the Canadian customs and etiquettes. Like Canadians are very warm. They are quick to apologize, and you now come to Canada and you begin to behave differently. No. So whatever culture you have, embrace that rich culture and transfer that into the Canadian culture. So we must learn the etiquette, their food, we must be open, we must try and build good relationships while in Canada. Networking does not mean that you stay indoors or you don't speak with people. Networking can still be done via your mobile phone. It can be done via, your whatever profiles you have. It could be LinkedIn, it could be your social media, depends on your community. And then you need to step out. We need to move out from our comfort zone if we really want to network. And in Canada here, it's a lot about networking. I know we network back at home too. We go to events, we have professional gatherings. Please import it back here and do more. Because you never know who you meet. Even while speaking with people, you are taking a walk. You know, people walk a lot here in Canada. They take maybe their dogs for a walk. You see people. Try and strike up conversations when you see people on the way. Don't just walk and as if you are the only one who holds this catch. No. Try and strike up conversations. You never know. You just never know. And Canadians are warm-hearted people. You know, they also want to engage you. But if you put a straight face, somebody already knows that, speak not to this person. And they move their way. Strike conversations, and that could be very helpful. Then you should also engage in local community activities like volunteering. Volunteering is very good. But especially as many people that are looking for a job, volunteering is a very good tool for you to be able to get what you're looking for. And as new immigrants, when you step into the newcomer information center, it's a step in the right direction. They can help you find volunteering activities there too, whereby you can, volunteering, you are working without being paid though. I know we're looking for paid job, yes. But we need to also put at the back of our mind that that can also bring that opportunity our way. Because you probably won't be able to step into those jobs anyway if you were not going to be referred there as a volunteer. So let's be open-minded. Let's be open. There are so many places where you can volunteer, but I'm not sure you can actually walk in there directly. But if you go through the information center, you have counselors associated with you. You'll be able to get those set up. Then you register with them. There are so many. Whether you are going to the Friendship Inn or there are so many downtown. Even in the care homes, you can volunteer. Some companies can actually, after volunteering, they can retain you. And that's going to be income for you. So it's a good place to start. And you know, in Canada, they're always looking for soft skills. They're looking for Canadian experience. And you can't have Canadian experience when you're coming from a country without already working here. Volunteering is a good way to start building that Canadian experience. And when you build the Canadian experience, what are we talking about? We are looking at how you relate with people when you work, how you embrace culturalism. We're talking about culturalism, how you interact. Canadians love a lot of small talks. You know, they are always striking a conversation. But if you are not ready to strike conversations, then you are not ready to integrate. You are not ready to be diverse in your engagements with people around here. So we must be conscious about this. So we must also build social and support networks, you know, making friends. I've talked about, you know, try to participate in local activities. So let's talk about employment, the employment market. For the purpose of those that have just joined us, we're going to be taking questions if you have questions at the end. So you might want to scribble that down. So we will take that at the end if you have any questions to ask. So the employment market is also very tricky. Canadian work experience or Canadian jobs and how to be able to navigate it. In Nigeria, we call our, when we apply for something or we put stuff down, we say we have a CV. In Canada, they call it resume. So part of the integration is for you to change that language. You need to change it because while you are even discussing, they don't understand what you're talking about. And in Canada, even as a professional back in your country, you're looking for a job that you will be able to, you know, move into here in Canada. The job title in your country is different from what they call it here. And you have to customize your resume. So that's what they call customized. It's not like you are changing your job title. Yeah, you are probably a relationship manager in your country back at home. And they are coming here and they call it maybe a success relationship manager or a success advisor. Yeah. It's just for you to change the title. The description still remains the same, but you must also be able to tweak some things as it applies to the jobs here or the description of what they are looking for. So when a job is being posted, there are descriptions to what they expect the person to perform. So while you are tweaking your resume, you are also trying to make it flow with that. There's the automated tracking system that they use to track resume. When you apply for a job, as much as possible, try to find keywords within those job descriptions that are posted. Put it in your resume. And that's why you are customizing your resume. Because if you leave it as one resume fits all, you will not work. So you're trying to customize it to ensure that it fits, and when it passes those tracking systems, it triggers those, okay, they are looking for somebody that has good communication skills. You put communication skills in your resume. They are looking for somebody that has relationship building, or somebody that has that can relate with external stakeholders. You have to put those keywords there for you to be able to get past that 8 years. And that also helps. So you must, for each role, and we need to understand that from whatever experience that we have back at home, there are so many roles that we can actually play out here. So don't let us be fixed about, okay, I've been a branch manager, I must be a branch manager here. There's no branch manager here for you. If you are looking for that, there are other roles. Because if you just solely face branch manager role here, you might not get it. Canada is also big with seniority. They are big with, you have to queue behind the ranks before you get somewhere. I'm not saying you can't go above the seniority role, but most of the time, they will not want to put you above those that are here. So that's one thing for us to note. So you can always start from different roles that will help you, move into that particular role that you're looking for. Are we gaining anything? Praise the Lord. And in Canada, while I relate it back at home to, which I will always do, there's different kinds of jobs. We know it, there's part-time, there's full-time, there's casual, there's temporary, there's contract, hybrid, there's remote. So feel free. Don't let us just say, no, it must be full-time. If I don't get full-time, I'm not working. No. There's what they call budget here too in every work employment stream. And usually they are trying to also ascertain that you can do the job. So they want to bring you in as a temporary worker or as a part-time worker to ensure that you can perform that job, and then you transit into a full-time employment. Usually when you come in like that, with a good record, maybe they tell you it's a 6 months or 1 year temporary position or this or that, you've been able to perform well. Automatically they will move you into a full-time role. So don't let us just feel it's not full-time. If they say it's a 12 months temporary, I'm not applying. Don't do that. By all means, apply for that role, because it will still get you far. Praise the Lord. And one thing you also must notice that when you come in as a temporary, you have a better chance than somebody else that is applying externally. They will consider you first. They've worked with you for 1 year, for instance, or 18 months. If you apply for that role, you have a better chance of getting that job than somebody from outside. So that's why if you're not getting a job, you're applying. There are people inside that are already on a temporary role that they are giving preference to. So we need to understand that. The world is going digital. Try and find a digital space for your job role. AI, we're looking into the future, and as jobs begin to transform, please transform. You to transform. Be compliant. I said I posted something on my channel one day, and I said, this is how we go to work when we work remotely, and when we're going to work and going out, this was how we are. Somebody was sending messages and he was like, you people that work remotely, you are not working. I said, who says? Remote workers are even people that work a lot more. Because it's difficult to strike the balance between when you close for work. You always want to, well, if you are like me, you always want to give extra. and you just find out that they are dead even after the closing time. So please, let's transform with the times that we are in and the times you are moving into. There's always a digital aspect of what you are doing. Find it and begin to evolve. Begin to find trainings that are available for you to be able to get into that space. Because as AI, they say AI is going to take over. What is AI? Intelligence, artificial intelligence. And when artificial intelligence takes, artificial intelligence has not just started. There are robots that are doing some liftings, or if they have to put pallets up in a storehouse or a warehouse. Yeah. And when there's robots working or there's artificial intelligence in place, there's limits to human effort or human labor that they will require. We also will be able to work remotely. I tell people that you have a lot of skills. When we talk about God has deposited so many things in us, sometimes we fail to explore what we have inside of us. Some of us feel, I cannot talk to people, or I cannot do this. It's okay, let me just stay in my corner and do it. There's a lot more. And when we think about the future, there's a lot more that we can also give. So find other ways that can help you generate income, aside your 9 to 5 or your 8 to 4 job, that you can also do as remote. I say thank God for COVID. COVID came with its good sides, because it also helped people. So many people actually got that light bulb about what they needed to do because of COVID. A lot of people moved, transited. A lot of people left their physical jobs because they began to find better ways of doing jobs while working remotely and serving people worldwide. Let's find those opportunities too. Praise the Lord. So we can, if we're looking for a job, we can go on the job bank. We need to, set our search engines on, portals whereby they will continue to send us alerts on jobs when they're available, like the job bank, the government of Canada jobs. If you're looking for government jobs, Saskatoon jobs, we're in Saskatchewan, so you can go to search jobs. Indeed is also a good place, Glassdoor. And I'm also very hot on LinkedIn. LinkedIn, you need to optimize your LinkedIn profile because headhunters are constantly searching. I've worked in recruitment before, so I know. And I've been headhunted too. So we need to optimize our LinkedIn profile. Some of us just have it still showing how we were in our country. No, we shouldn't. Let your LinkedIn profile carry your entire portfolio. Don't forget that while here, you are constantly customizing. You cannot customize your LinkedIn profile. But let it carry your entire portfolio, but translate it into the Canadian standard. So that you can get really big jobs through LinkedIn. When you are customizing, you are trying to get into like entry level. They are not giving me job. Let me just enter with this startup or junior level this. But you can get bigger roles through LinkedIn because you have your portfolio bigger. In Canada, if you are looking for an entry level job and you are a master's degree holder, they will tell you to remove the master, otherwise you won't get a job. You will be termed overqualified. And because you want to come in, you have to take away that master's job, that master's certificate that you have. But on LinkedIn, you have to leave it there. You have to leave it there. I've talked about finding talents to make money. I don't know whether because me, I'm in business, I think they gave back to me a while, I don't know. I'm a business inclined person. And We need to find something. Honestly, we need to find something. We need to find something that we need to do on the side. We need to find something so that we can begin to transit. And for me, also looking ahead, you're also looking at the bigger goal for you, even towards retirement. Would you be able to still continue to, me, I want to retire early. I want to go to Bahamas and still be working remotely and still be earning my money. I don't want to be begging one supervisor or one that, sometimes you can't leave your job because they say, you can't leave now, you can't go and leave now, you can't, no. You must always look for that flexibility for yourself. There are a couple of remote works that we can also do. If you go on Fiverr, Upwork's group, there are a lot of jobs that you can do. It could be administrative jobs, it could be tech jobs, it could be, people are constantly looking. The pay is slightly lower. If you are available to be able to do design, you're able to do admin role, you're able to do, maybe even this, some people go there and help people to customize their resume or LinkedIn profile. There are a lot of things. And there are people that are looking for some people to be able to work on a 6 months term, on a 1 year term, or a continuous basis. Little. You might be getting as low as $15 per hour, but if it's consistent, it goes a long way, rather than nothing. So those are areas where you can add up to what you have. Keep developing your skills. Don't abandon training, self-training, self-improvement. Don't do that. Sometimes we are looking for a job, we are training. When we get the job, we go to sleep. No. Let's constantly, with the way things are going, let's strategically be changing, working towards improving ourselves, especially digitally. It's very important to digitally. Let's think long term and retirement and begin to plan our exit route. Also depends on your age. If you are young and like Olafolu, Pira, Anna, those ones can still stay on the job. But those that are looking at their faces like this, I don't want to mention names. I'm looking at their faces. Please, let's begin to plan our exit routes. Let's begin to plan. It will help us a great deal. Let's also talk a bit more about workplace culture. I talked about equality, inclusion, there's diversity because of the multiculturalism here. We need to stir up small talks, we'll talk about that. Even though, and I want to be frank here, even though there's equality being spoken about, there's inclusion being spoken about, there's diversity being spoken about, it is not entirely true. And we need to, from the perspective of being diverse, we need to help ourselves to be able to, settle well in our workplaces. We need to step out. We need to show off what we are. Usually in the workplace, if you are probably black, there might be a bit of some racism there. Let's call it what it is. It is there. But you need to, because usually they look at you guys, sometimes they wonder how English, some people come here and they begin to learn English as their language, but if you are from Africa, most of the time your English is our lingua franca, that's our main means of communication. So we speak good English, sometimes it confuses them. And then we are trying to get jobs that are plush. They are not happy. But you need to also step out to show forth, when you're in a meeting, rather than keep quiet, when you have achieved milestone, please speak up. If you pay attention in those your mini meetings or groups or your Zoom team meetings that you have, People talk about when you are sharing, when you are having your, especially Mondays, you are updating what happened in the past week. People share their achievement. As little as it is, you are mourning your achievement. Please say it. Nobody will say it for you. It might just be only a supervisor that knows about it. But you are in a larger team, say it. Whatever you have done right. You see them, they say it. Sometimes it looks ridiculous to you. Some people's ears they are listening to it. And when you see that some people are even being promoted or moved to bigger roles, those are the skills. They are picking it. This person could do this. As little as this person has been able to do this. It goes a long way. We are the one that will sell ourselves. So please speak out. Don't keep quiet. There might be a difficult client that you handled and you sailed through. Rather than keep it to yourself, please say it. You had an experience with this client. It was really tough. This was the experience. How you went about it. In a few words or sentences, say it during your meeting. They are taking notes. They are taking notes. They are taking notes. And when there is time to pay off, those things come back to remembrance. So let's not keep quiet. And like you also know that in Canada, there's no respect for age now. And because our teenagers that they have started working, all these small children that we give birth to, they have started working and counting years of experience. We have come and we are made to come and queue up behind them as they have bigger experience. And you ask you, when did they give birth to this one? And they begin to call you names too. It doesn't matter. Does it matter? Who answered? Oh, okay. I thought it was Peter. You know, but there are lots of first names. Yes?
Like just a workplace environment.
Yes, that's the workplace environment, and it's a first name basis. Even when you have your vice president or whatever, they will tell you first names. So let's respect that. It's a culture. Don't let us carry our mentality. I know we are respectful people, but within those names, you can be respectful. You can still be respectful. Then we must, in the workplace, we must understand that there are non-verbal cues. There are non-verbal cues, and we need to understand it. There are body languages, there are facial expressions that go around. We need to be alert. We need to be, what's the word? Discerning, that's the word I'm looking for. We need to, focus. Don't let us be carried away. When your supervisor is saying some things, this is how they tell you, you have done something wrong, right? It's a sandwich appraiser that they will give you, sandwich. They will start with praise. They will tell you what you have done wrong, and then they will tell you what to do or what other things you've done or what to improve on. If you are carried away with the first one, then you lose out on the rest. They are not, what they are telling you is the one you have not done. But in Nigeria, we can call black for you, right? You have not performed. What is wrong with you? They will tell you from the beginning. They will tell you what you have done, but they don't do that here. They will praise you from the beginning, but they are bringing something after that. So we must be attentive. So don't let us be carried away, because they want you to change. There's a way that this information has passed to us during our appraisals, or we have one-on-one during our meetings. We need to pay attention. And then ask. And when you have, especially with your supervisor, please ask questions. Am I meeting your expectation? Let them tell you that you are. As in, give them the reason to say something. Ask questions. Is there any way you feel I'm not measuring up? So that when appraisal come and they give you you say, but I asked, you never said anything. Meaning that if you did not respond to me, it means it is okay, I'm doing what you expect me to do. So we need to pay attention to that. We also must maintain eye contact. For those shy people, please look into people's eyes so that helps you engage better. I won't stop talking about small talks. Small talks. And what are the kind of small talks that we talk about here? To steer up conversation. Give me an example.
They are pets.
They are pets. If you don't like pets, please like it. Talk about it. Yes.
I was going to say, like, a lot of small talk is even just sports, what's going around.
Sports, what's going around.
Media, anything. Yeah.
Yes. The weather is a constant small talk.
And for those of us that are given the liberty to dress the way we like, sometimes small talks come out of our native attire.
Yes. Our clothing, yeah. So we can initiate these small talks. And it helps, spur conversation. Especially for us that are Africans. The Canadians love our clothes, so we can make emphasis to that. We can express how rich our culture is. We can just let them know so much about us. We need to understand that sometimes Canadians, they are not widely traveled, so they don't know us. They don't know. They have misconceptions a lot about Africa. And when you begin to tell them, in fact, when you start by saying, do you know how much proof of funds we needed to bring us here? And they're like, where did you see the money from? That they feel you people live in the dark, in the bush, there's no road, there's you people, those are the things. But when you begin to engage them, and that's when you have this small talk, during your lunch time, sit with one of them. Don't just sit there and say, this 30 minutes or 1 hour that I have, let me just be by myself and just social media and just enjoy. Yes, sometimes we need that break. But let's still find avenues to engage. So that it shows how rich we are, it shows they respect us more. Okay? Then punctuality is also a key thing. We are stressing more about work because that's the main crux of the matter. Yes, Peter.
I was even going to come back to what you said about small talk. I think it's so important to engage in that kind of stuff because think about it from their perspective. You're a new immigrant, they don't really know who you are. So it's really important to show who you really are, like what you're about, what you're for. So that kind of stuff is really important.
And because they also need to be able to relate to you better. If they don't know how to speak with you, they feel maybe, there are some things like, if they say something to you, it might be offensive. They don't know who you are. So if you don't engage them, they don't know you. They don't know how to relate with you. Then it will be a problem. Okay. Right. Let's talk about financial management. Financial management as immigrants into Canada. I would always advise that when we open an account in the banks, we should try and find banks that help us save money. When we move in, we're trying to save the money that we have, especially if we haven't started working. Our currency has changed, and most of us, depreciation, the exchange rate has killed the money that we have brought in, and it has become very, very small. So it's not a time for us to want to live, large or begin to splurge. We're not on vacation, like I said. So even with the money that we have brought in, the banks that we use is also very important. I know some banks will give us 0 monthly charge or annual fee for 1 year. That's the way to start. You don't want to be paying monthly charges when you start calling. You brought money, one bank is collecting it again every month. Why? I talked about punctuality and I said, look, Canadians are very punctual. I know we are Africans and there's an African time to things for us. Part of the integration or moving or changing is for us to drop that mentality. We should not bring African time into Canadian time. There's punctuality. When they say something is 10 o'clock, be there by 9:45. Please be there by 9:45. That's the way Canadians think. It's going to start at this time. It is going to start. So let's even in our places of work, we can't be strolling in after 8 o'clock, or we're resuming and we're strolling in at 9. It won't work. Yeah, it probably passes where we're coming from, but it doesn't, it shouldn't, it won't. It goes a long way because somebody is watching us as well. Even those that work remotely, you will feel they are not watching you. Some people are spies. You know, you can actually, with remote work, you feel nobody is seeing when you are clocking in. Stay there. Stay there. There's a technology behind it, and they will download everything. It's possible. So let's be punctual. Let's be punctual. It helps us. It helps people to also know the kind of person we are. So I was talking about the banks. You don't want banks to take away your money when you move in. You don't want banks to start removing, as small as it is something for you. It is something for you. So if a bank offers to, give you a 0 monthly and the annual fee for the first 1 year, it is good. That's what you want. Don't open where they will start taking money from you. And of course, in Canada we have different banks, and there are credit unions too. There are online banks. These online banks too, they are very helpful because some of them too don't charge you. In fact, they give you better interest than the regular working banks. That's the truth. So we need to, can you trust them? Yes, you have to make your research, and they are credible banks. They are credible banks. There's EQ Bank, there's Tangerine Bank, there's PC Financial. So, somebody's. So please, try and make your research. They will give you their interest fee. I'll talk about one here. EQ Bank. EQ Bank has 2.5%. Which bank gives you 2.5% on your savings? Which bank? Tell me physically that you work into. There's none of them. There's none of them. So please make your research and try to save money. Then also look for the ones that give you cash back. Cash back. Some banks do that. When you spend on your card, you get cash back. So that gives you money in return, right? Please budget and plan your expenses. If you just spend without thinking, please stop it. Let's try and budget our expenses and track. And how to budget is maybe in the first 3 months, there's instability because you are spending a lot to settle down. As soon as that phase is over, try and track what your expenses are, your bills. And if you track, if you are like me, that track, you will know the seasons when those bills go up and when they come down. Who can tell me? I will know who tracks expenses now. Yes, sir. Yes, and then it drops because you are not hitting up. Okay, we'll take questions after. So let's budget and let's plan our expenses. There's this thing about, I know a lot of us want to buy houses, for those that haven't bought houses. And this, when you also plan your expenses well, it helps you, right? There's, within the 100% or net, I'm talking about net now, I'm not talking about gross. Net comes into your bank account. You must be able to have your expenses, and when we're talking about expenses must not be more than 50%. Must not be more than 50%. And then 30% on what you want. For instance, you are planning ahead. You want to probably go on a vacation. You are training, improving yourself. What else? Personal development, or you want to buy a house, you want to buy a car. Those will fall in your 30% plans that you keep aside, because they are not everyday expenses, right? So you keep that aside. Then the remaining 20% will be on your savings, whether you're investing or you're trying to build wealth. And that's what we talk about. You have to build wealth. You have to build income. You must have that savings for you to be able to turn around to increase whatever portfolio that you have currently. And when you use that, when we move that into mortgage, for instance, if you say you want to buy a house, the banks are looking at your debt portfolio. So if you are spending more or you are owing credit card, it will be difficult for you to be able to get as much. For the banks, if you want to buy a house, for instance, they are looking at multiply your household income by 4. That's typically how much you'll be entitled to get approval for mortgage. And that's not the final figure. They are looking at what your debt profile is, so they are deducting that from that. And that's why it's important that we need to always keep it clean, especially our credit. Credit history is also important. So when you are paying back, you're spending, you're paying back, it gives you credit, a good credit history. A good credit history starts from 700. If you are lower than 700, you probably will not be able to, you might get mortgage, but you won't get anything good. And you won't be able to buy what you want. That's why you must always keep track and begin to pay back when you use your credit card. When you use your credit card. So please try and maintain, when you track, you'll be able to know. If you are spending beyond 50%, check your expenses. Reduce it. If you are splurging, reduce it. If you cannot maintain something, why spend it? If you don't have it, why spend it? Let's talk about the Canadian tax system, because it's also something that you need to understand. Usually taxes are filed, between February and April. January to April, really. It starts opening up, and they are filing for the previous year, right? And for the businesses, it extends to June. If you are a business owner, you can file your tax until June. And there are a couple of things that you need to know. And why I am also stressing that you people should go and have business is that you can always have refunds on your expenses. You know, Canada is hot about taxes. There's so much. If you look at your payslip, you will begin to cry. You are work, they tell you that you are earning 80,000 per annum. You are happy. What hits your account is less, because you are probably, in fact, on a 50,000 annual income, you are going to be paying nothing less than about 25% tax. The federal tax is higher. You'll be paying about 15% federal tax, and you'll be paying about 12.5 or something for, you know, the provincial tax. And there are other deductions that might come from your workplace too. There are other deductions. You are going to pay pension. You are going to pay employment insurance. You are going to pay, what else? If you have, sorry? Life insurance. And if you also have unions, those ones they will deduct. So tell me, when all this one is removed, what is remaining? You don't have money, and you are excited that you have more money. Everything is, yeah, some of the funds are being kept for retirement, yes, but you need money to spend. So these taxes are deducted. But if you have a business or you have something that is running, you'll be able to claim some of these expenses. Like if you are working out of home, you are claiming part of your home expenses, your rent. You are claiming your electricity bills. You are claiming your heating. You are claiming, you know, some of these costs. It could be your phone bills, depending on the kind of job that it relates with what you're doing. So these expenses go into your business account, and it helps you save money. Some of it you are claiming 100%. And when I mean 100%, it's not like 100% of what you have paid. So there's a percentage of it from the 100%, but you can request for you can claim the 100%, but a fraction of it. And if you are working, you know, most of the things that you file will be like if you are an employee, you get a T4. If you are a contractor, you get a T5. If you are students that have maybe grants or scholarships or awards above $500, you have to be given a T4A. And those are the things that you present when you are filing your taxes. Please don't keep anything away when you are filing taxes. So even if you are doing business and you earn money, because CRA sees everything that is going inside and outside your account, they see it. There's this crocodile app that they have. It sees everything. Trust me, they see everything. And that's why they slam refunds on people. What's it called now? That you are owing the government because you have not declared everything. Please declare. There's nothing to lose. There's nothing to lose. Because if they tell you that you are going to pay something, you will cry. It happened to somebody too. They slammed about $8,000 that she should go and pay. Meanwhile, the person forgot to add one other income. I think her job from temporary, they moved out to permanent, then back to temporary. So she forgot to add something in between it. Your tax preparer might not know, you know, as you're looking for a job, you're moving from one job. They won't know that you have changed job like 10 times within a year now. So it's what you give them they will use. So it's not their fault, it's you. So if you don't declare it, they know, the government knows now. And they said, they slammed that the lady hid this information and all of that you have 8,000 to go and pay. Okay, so for as many of us too that are moving around, we talked about saving money. Uber is not your best bet. Don't use Uber. Use it once or twice. Don't use Uber. You can use the transit bus system. I know the weather is going to change soon. If you can't afford a car, well, nobody has died in winter. It's cold, yes, but we all enjoyed it. We all enjoyed the baptism. We all fell down. We fallen down inside everybody. Who hasn't fallen down? Except those that have come that have not seen winter. Who hasn't fallen down? You fall down, you get up again. You like, you shake your body and you continue. That's the Canada baptism. So if you are looking for comfort, then it will cost you money. That's where I'm going to. But you must tell yourself that comfort is still, it's like sacrifice before comfort. Comfort is still coming. Comfort is still coming. It's coming. You know? So don't live like you're on vacation. Live like an immigrant. That you are. Live like an immigrant. Okay, then also buying a car. While we also think about buying cars as immigrants, we should try to do an outright purchase if we can. If we can. Try and do an outright purchase, because in the long run, this is debt, right? If you're looking at mortgage, it's debt that will be taken out of your qualification, the total that you'll be qualified for from the bank, your pre-qualification, because that debt is there. So let's try and do outright purchases. When you buy a house, you can do anything. You can buy dealership if you want to buy. But try and do outright purchase. As much as possible, please try. Then please, let's guard against fraud. There's fraud here in Canada. In fact, more than where we are coming from. That's the truth. Let's guard against our expenses. Let's try and see how we can manage. Don't put your card details online. Don't do that. There are constantly people monitoring, working behind, trying to steal your money. I always advise people, if you are doing shopping, use PayPal. PayPal is a secured site, and that's the only place you share your bank details. And when you are going to be shopping, it's through PayPal. So you are not putting your bank details again anywhere. where you are now confused, was it this site, was it that site, was it this site that they took my money? You won't know. But PayPal is secure. You don't have anything to worry about. So let's understand that, so that we will guide ourselves away from fraud. Then let's keep our cards secure too. You know, our cards is just, we are just tapping now. If it falls on for somebody pick, they go and tap it and spend your money. Let's keep our cards secure, because when they spend our money, it's on us. Usually, sometimes bank will do investigation. If they don't complete, you will pay it. It's you that will pay it. It's you that will pay it. Let's limit our exposure as well. Then, what else? Grocery. There's a lot of things that I've put here, but I think I should just let us ask questions. Okay, finally, let me just conclude with this. Finding support. We need to know that as immigrants, people know that you are new. People know that you need help. So please ask. Don't be shy. Ask. When you need help, people, you know, when we moved in, we got a lot of support. We got a lot of support. The sofa we got was free. The sofa they gave us when we moved in was free. The plates, cups, spoons, everything was free. I did not use my money to buy. In fact, I got so much that I was giving to another immigrant. My baking utensils, I was given free. We got bed, mattress, I think 1 or 2 free. So let's, as much as we can get, let's exploit. Because everybody knows, and people are very nice. People help, even helping you to move around, helping you to find budget things. They know that you need to settle down. So also trust those, you know, I say these things because sometimes immigrants are, yes, you know, we still, well, that's why I say we should begin to change how we think. When we come here, we have seniors. We have seniors that have landed before us. Let's trust them. Those that you can trust, I'm not saying everybody, to help you settle down easily. Sometimes we are like as if this person is going to push me in the wrong direction. This person wants to help me do this wrong, this or no. But the Spirit of God in you will help you to discern, to know the right person to actually follow, right? But we must trust them. Because sometimes, like I've said, all I've said here, some people might still say it's garbage. It's okay. But you know, if you don't follow a good direction, you will pay for it later. That's the truth. Some people have come ahead and they've been beaten. They've made costly mistakes. And they are giving you the footprints of where to go. Why not follow it so that you don't make those mistakes? I wonder. Sometimes it just baffles me. Some people still want to make it's like we are telling our children, don't do this, don't do this, don't do this. They will still go and do it. But it's human nature. It's human nature. But it's also to help us. If it's coming out of a genuine heart, you will know. That's why we are Christians. We see the Spirit. The Spirit of God helps us to discern. Let's follow, you know, wise counsel. And let's, so that we can save so much. There's a lot of support that the government gives immigrants as well. Let's explore this support. Let's explore it. There's a supplementary health benefit as immigrants. When you get your health card, you get supplementary health benefit. You can apply for it. It's not automatic. It's not automatic. So if you don't know, you don't know. Especially those that are getting medications that you have to pay is expensive. You know, even with your health card, you go to the clinic, you are going free. But your medication, you will pay for it. But when you register for the supplementary health support, you probably, the government is going to take a substantial amount of it, and you are paying very minute, and when I say minute, it can be as low as $2. Depends on your case, right? So let's explore it. Don't let us live in the blind, in the dark. Then there's the supplementary statutory income support for those that are low income. If you are low income, please apply for this. It's there. If you don't know it, if you don't apply for it, nobody, government will not chase you to come and tell you to apply for it. Please apply for it. If you are low income is below 35,000 per annum or so. I know I've told a couple of, how many people has applied for it in this that I told before? About 2 families, I think, applied. But as your situation keeps increasing, you can't be eating your cake and be having it. They will collect it back from you. But it's just to cushion that part for you. Then, of course, we have the child benefit as well. There's also the Canada training credit. So for some training fees, some qualified or eligible trainings that you expend money for, you will get refunded. So it's not all trainings. But during your tax, you have training credits, you'll be refunded. So you have to show evidence or receipt that you expended money on this training. So please keep your receipt. I tell people, any expenses, keep your receipt. If you come to my house, ask my children, there's a carton in my house. Every month, I keep account though. I can keep account. I'm sorry, I can keep account. I keep monthly expenses, everything. When I say everything, everything. So I know how much you are spending on everything. And then when tax season comes, I can say, okay, this is what so tell me that this one, I cannot add it to my tax to reduce my money, and I remove it. I will give you everything. So that helps, right? What else? So there's also the GST, the Climate Action Incentive, there's disability benefits, dental benefits. All these are benefits. Please exploit. Exploit. It's a case-by-case basis. It's not automatic. It depends on your situation. But if you don't exploit it and you're eligible for it, you will not get it. You will not get it. Okay, I'll stop here. I'll take 2 questions. I know I have 2 questions here. Please, I want to know how long a newcomer stays before going back with super visa, though on multiple visas. Super visa is that's for seniors, right? Parents, yeah. Super visa is not for, it's for like you bring your parents to come and stay, right? I know super visa, there's a 5 or 10 years. It depends on what you've applied for and you've been given. So you can always, I know that when your parents are here, they can still apply, especially when the time for them to go back. For instance, they get the super visa and they are going to be here for maybe 6 months or 1 year, and you want them to stay. At the point where they will be leaving, they can apply for an extension. And then while the approval is going on, they can stay until the approval goes on. So you have applied, right? So they don't have to go. Then when it's granted, then they continue to stay. I hope that answers the question.
I think the question is that if you have a super visa, for how long can you stay in Canada?
As a stretch.
10 years.
I think you can stay as much as you want to stay.
Yes,
you don't have to go back.
You don't have to. You don't have to. You can be going and coming if you want, but you have a visa for 10 years, right? Yeah.
I think the point of contention is, do you have to, most of those visas, you have to go back in between. So for super visa, you are not able to go back at all. You are free to just stay for the whole stretch. I think
That's why it's super visa. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. For super visa, you are free to stay as long as you want. But if it's regular visitor visa, you have to go out before 6 months.
Yes. And super visa for clarity is for the grandparents, parents and grandparents. I'm an expecting mom with no job at the moment. How do I sustain myself even after delivery? That's a tough one. That's the talk of, because there must be income coming in. It depends on if you have a spouse that is working, then yes. But pending that, if it's something, if you know how to do things, you know, if you can use your hands to do things, maybe you plait hair, bake, you know, help out with something and be paid for it. It could be cleaning services, it could be something. You can actually get income to do something. It might not be a fully, you know, you go out and work, but you know, you can always, and thank God for this job. We are small, but we've identified a couple of people that do things here. I know somebody, a seamstress that makes dresses. She's a professor. I call her professor. And she makes clothes. One person, not two people. So that's an extra income. Who else? I know a couple of people also makes hair. I know our teenagers make, I know, where's the...
So I think the board of contention is that, what are the options of supporting yourself through government, whatever, if you are...
No, there's no government support. You have to start working first. So you can't collect government money without, yes, contributing something, yes.
Then if you don't have all those skills, what should we do?
For income support, especially if you worked in your country before you come, you can apply for income support. And look for it, just wait for the government to respond, because you paid your tax in your country, because they will ask for a couple of things. So you can apply for income support and then wait for the government to respond on that. So I think that's the only thing. It can come out positive, it can come out negative. But the person must also show that he or she is constantly looking for jobs, not waiting on the government to sustain his livelihood. So the government support is not for you to wait that government will just keep giving you money. Because they want you just to sustain you for a while, and then they take you away from it because you've gotten something. Yeah. Yes, sir.
I want to say thank you for sharing a lot of information that is very important for we new immigrants. A lot of information. You can't hear me. Sorry, I'm cool.
Sorry.
You've shared a lot of information that is really going to help a whole lot of us that just came in. But I want to ask some questions. Also, I have a contribution which you didn't mention at all. I've applied for a couple of, in fact, not a couple, hundreds of jobs. When I'm at home, I'm on my system, and all these jobs, there are some of them that I'm not aware of. But my major challenge is, back in Nigeria, I've been working for like 20 years, and I've really grown to, a senior level. And, in Canada here, the information you even mentioned it that they do not want to place you above, their citizens and all that. So I wasn't even looking for the job that matches my work experience, maybe something lower. But sometimes the interview looks fantastic, you feel that you performed, you did well, and they will even appraise you, oh, you have a lot of experience in this area. And they will come back to tell you that, they moved on. I've had that like 4 or 5 occasions, and I have to start, talking to people, what's going on here? Is this how they do the assessment here? So my question is, do I need to remove some of my senior roles on my CV? If I do that,
you're using CV now. You're in Canada.
I mean, sorry, my resume, sorry, my resume. If I do that, there's going to be a gap on my CV. For example, I was a chief operating officer. That's my last role. If I remove that, I've been a marketing manager for a company. If I remove that, I say, okay, because I want to apply for a lower role. Because I was thinking maybe my CV is intimidating. They see this guy is a senior role and he's applying for a lower role. Sometimes I don't even get any response from them. So I need you to share more light on that. Let me just finish all my questions. Okay. Secondly, I hope one day I'm going to get a job and I will work You know, in Nigeria, this cultural thing is very, very important. You cannot dare call your boss by name. I've worked in a multinational before, in a British company, and I know that my director of sales, my MD, will call them by name. They don't, you know, they are okay with it. But Nigerians, they cannot. So that you say madam or Mr. You know, we have been so used to that culture that if I start another job, will I be able to call my MD by his name? So I need also to know that so that they won't say this guy is proud. So for those of you that have been working, you've been in the system, you've created yourself, I want to know if it is normal. When you start a job, you can call your line manager by his name, even your MD by his name, and you will not take offense in that. Then thirdly, those online banking, how safe are they? Because somebody has introduced me to the online banking. Even yesterday, I was trying to open one, and they were asking me for my SIM. And when the issue sent to us, we were warned that we cannot just share your SIM with just anybody. These online banks, they don't have offices. They don't have a physical office. There's nobody to relate with. So if I put my money there and they are not responding to you, what happens? So please, I need you to share more light on that. So my contribution, I went for a program. All these a networking program. There's a program they call MENS program. If you're a new immigrant, you need to join that group. I've met a lot of national, Afghanistans, Ukrainian, Iranians, and they normally bring different people to come and talk to us every Thursday. And we do like a team bonding event, do sports, like tomorrow now we're going to be playing football. I can't remember when last I played football in my life. I've gone to buy JC, and so I'm working out. So they can explore that. I can share information about that. Also, they brought a speaker last Thursday. They call it SHA, Saskatchewan Housing Authority. And I got to know that through SHA you can get a good accommodation at a very ridiculous rate. They said people are getting a duplex for 700, a 3-bedroom for 500. The guy that came to talk to us mentioned that. So we don't have all those information while we're coming in.
We've
gone to all those private properties and we're paying through our nose. So I think it's information that we need to have and share with the new immigrants. Thank you very much.
I will start.
I just want to comment about the houses.
Yes, sir.
You know, the way it works is that if you don't really have income, there's something called Saskatoon houses. So, but the major problem of immigrants is that if you come in, you have to be living somewhere, and you have a contract. So, when the contract is running, if you are able to get a job, you might not be able to qualify for all those. But if you don't get a job, you can apply. I remember when we came nearly 14 years ago in Calgary, they introduced us to all those stuff too. But the idea is that as your income increases, they will increase the house too. Yes. If you start with 300, if your income, they will move to 400 or 700. At the end of the day, if it's not taking, you might end up paying more over there than the rental apartment. So that's how it works. So it's income dependent, and you can't access it until you have been in the country for some time.
Yes, and then you have to apply. Yes, you have to apply for it, and there's no guarantee you will also get it.
And be careful too. Most of the houses sometimes might be invested in something or that.
Okay, let me just quickly answer all these questions. You talked about resume. Okay, let me start with the addressing your supervisor. Let me start with that. So you can, for instance, ask the supervisor. You know, these are, while you begin to engage in small talks, right? You will know what to do. You can ask, because what they know that you are from a culture that is very respectful, even how we, call people's names. You can let them know. They will tell you, okay, no, or okay, yes. So let them tell you what to call them. They might say, okay, call me Mr. A. Or no, please call me Ben. But you can't still, there should be still that respect in the relationship, irrespective of the title or whatever. Then you talked about jobs. Right, so for jobs, really, that's where the customization comes in. We talked about customization. You need to, depends on the kind of job you're applying for. And, when a job is asking for 5 years experience and you give 20 years experience, there's no miracle, you won't get it. That's the truth, you won't get it. Because from the get-go, like when I was in HR, when we see from the beginning and we're saying we are looking for 5 years, and that's like an entry to mid-level position, and we see somebody has got 18 years experience, you won't even continue because you have like 200 resumes. You just click delete straight. They've not even checked, they won't go further. That's the truth. And you will keep applying. So what you can do is, that's the customization we're talking about. You have to customize, and then you can compress your experience in a few years. You can. You have to compress it for you to be able to do that. That's what you can do. You have to compress it. To me, initially when I came, I said this one is like lying or doing it, but is a Canadian this thing.
Sorry, but when you say compress, how do we compress? I want you to explain that. Because I've been practicing the same job for almost 30 years now. And
you want to change jobs?
And I want to change that. You say compress. How do I compress my
So you have to look for the relevant job role that is important to the posting.
So in some of those jobs, they will tell you, for example, indeed, after attaching your CV, they will tell you they will ask which of those roles that you have handled is relevant to that job. So you state it, that okay, as the head of commercial and industrial sales, or as a sales branch manager, or as a regional, you state the one because it's still on your CV. So I don't know whether that number of years that you've worked, and because the majority of them say they want 5 years, some 3 to 5 years, but they will still ask that which of those experience that you have that relates to the job that you are applying for.
And okay, for instance, in Nigeria, most of the roles that you have worked in can actually it transits from so many years. Most people actually, they're in the same role almost throughout. So it's a continuum. For that 18 years, you have probably moved from roles and climbed the ladder. So you are typically just keep adding to your portfolio. So it's kind of the same thing. So where I'm going to is, if you're asking for a 5-year experience, you need to be able to start from the relevant one. Please remove the previous ones. Take it away from your resume.
So what I'm saying, if I take it away from my resume, it's going to create gaps. For example, let's say I was a sales branch manager, and that was maybe 2012 to 2016. And I'm applying for a job that is asking for maybe a branch manager or district sales manager or something, which that my experience matches. So if I say I'm going to remove, I've been a marketing manager, I've been head of commercials, I've been chief operating officer, that means I'm going to remove like 3 roles, and those years that I've worked in those roles, I want to limit it. So because they will have attended an interview, they will ask you. For example, there was one that I attended, and I said that my last period, they looked at my CV and said, okay, you stopped work in February, what have you been doing between February and now? So and I told him, okay, I have enrolled for a business analysis school, and I just finished the online classes, and I still have to, still have 2 more months to do capstone project and all that. So that has covered for the period that I've not worked. But if I remove all those roles on my CV, I will have like almost like 10, 15 years gap.
They're asking for a 5-year work experience, and you are giving an 18-year experience portfolio. That's a lot, because even from the last work experience, you are overqualified for that role. You're already overqualified for that role. So they are looking for somebody that is just starting their experience. So you can customize your resume or modify it in such a way that those roles, don't put those big grammar of the jobs that you've done. You have to simplify, even with the job title, to match what they are looking for. Then you begin to eliminate, leave that gap, leave it for interview time. What they are looking for right now is, from the beginning, let me tell you how it works. Open somebody's resume. We are looking for 5 years experience. See the person is plus or minus, at the most, don't put more than extra 2 years on that 5 years. It's okay. Or maybe 1 year less 5 years. Then this person already has checked the box for one of what they're looking for. Then you begin to go further. But if the first line has nullified it, it's garbage straight away, no looking through. Because you have so many to go through, you won't waste your time looking at the other ones. Then you begin to, because you are already confusing the recruiter, the person is trying to find in between your myriad of experiences, what qualifies you for this role. If you understand what I'm saying. So you want to put it in the face. Especially that's why you must have an executive summary that summarizes your experience and tells, in line with what they are looking for, what you have done. So automatically, those gives the ways in which the person will, you are tickling the interest of the recruiter to keep going, continue, okay, this person looks interesting, let me see what he has done. Okay.
All right, thank you. I just have a small contribution to that. Two things is that, one, there are some job titles here that is not exactly the same thing why that it is back home. However, the job description is the same. So, for someone who has been working for a long period of time, it is natural that you have grown and you have advanced and you have all these chief kind of titles. However, for every particular job title, there are 3 or 4 or 5 equivalent that is called in this place. So one of the things that could be done is to look at that job role and use that particular title, and because that's the work you're doing. Yeah. And the way it is in Nigeria, if you are a marketing manager, you are doing sales job, you are doing project management job, and everything. So, and you have expresses all those things. So just like our moderator, our facilitator mentioned, you are actually not lying when you mention that I have experience in this area, because indeed you have experience in it, only that you aren't bearing that title as it were. So in that way, it is better. Then secondly, someone told me among the HR professional that we know, because before we came, we attended some courses that were organized by Canadian government, access employment and stuff like that. Yes. So we had people who work with us, as advisor and all that stuff. Now, one of the things that was mentioned is that don't go beyond your 10 years. Anything under 10 years just is irrelevant. So put the 10 years. However, maybe your 10 years you are almost empty. You don't necessarily have to put managing director. Put one of the roles. You can be a marketing manager. If it is marketing manager job that you are applying for, put it. You can put marketing specialist, and all those stuff. Marketing specialist. You are still marketing specialist. You understand?
You don't want to intimidate them.
Yes, you don't want to intimidate them. Yes. I read an interview, and the guy said, "Wow, you are highly read. You are, and it's a research kind of job. It's going to, and I knew that those particular role we play. Those particular stuff we play a role in looking at my stuff. But there are some places I apply. I have 2 masters. I remove all the masters. I just leave my my bachelor alone, because that's what is required, and maybe some certification. So I think it's a little bit something one must just be able to manage it. And above all, even some of these big roles, I want to assure you, you will still get them. Even as now, just keep on praying, because that wealth of experience, they need it. I realize that majority of people, like in my place of work, majority of people who manages us, they are not as experienced and as vast as those of us. Where there's something when we're having a meeting and we're discussing, I will just keep quiet and be watching. However, there is a way you work together that everything becomes synergized and eventually. So I think that is important. She mentioned something that is very, very essential. That is optimization of the LinkedIn. And think those big roles, that's actually where it is. those angel hunters that are looking, head hunters that are looking for branch manager,
Yes.
regional development manager, and stuff like that. That's where they go
That's
to
where
check,
they will not go.
you know, and that is extremely also important. I think that's just a very good
Any
Okay, I
other
think, is
question?
there any other question?
Any contribution?
Or
Okay,
contribution?
Thank you, man, for your time. I just want to add to this. My personal experience, I think I lost a job 2 weeks after it came in. The interview was successful. They have even got it to my referrals. I think I updated passport. But 3 of them, everything was fine. So they now told me that in the next 2 days I should be expecting offer letter. I was waiting for offer letter. But I noticed something that day when doing the interview. The guy asked me, do you have a car? I didn't have car that time. And I told the guy that I'm getting car that weekend. I just tried to rally around. Pastor was involved. So I made sure I got car that weekend. But unfortunately, they couldn't give me the job because I didn't have car. Because I told the guy I didn't have car before that time. The guy didn't even, actually buy with my buying car that weekend. And again, driving license is very, very key.
Yes.
All my job roles, they used to ask for class 5 driving experience. And that has been all my roles. I must have class 5 driving experience. All my roles, whether junior role, senior role. So we need to also work in line with that. That's my contribution.
Yes. Thank you for chipping that in. That's very, very important.
Professor.
Okay, thank you for the information, and I just want to reinforce something. I was going to say, and he said what I was about to say really well. I want to reinforce it because it's very important. There is something about our resumes, for those of us that have worked above 10 years. We are often advised here to keep everything within 10 years. Unless the job role you're applying for requests for something above 10 years. And as much as possible, for me, I was IT. I had to remove the edge, all the seniors. However, I kept information technology officer for those 10 years. However, we must take note of something. Okay, I will use IT field as an instance now. I was an IT officer. I worked in cybersecurity. I worked in networks. I worked in software development. So if the job role I'm applying for is software inclined, trust me, everything about my job history would be tailored towards that. So we should take note of that. And please, another thing we need to take note of is, for someone like me, I've applied to more than 200 jobs in Canada. It is better to have different cover letters. Tailor your cover letters as well to those roles. Some of us have a culture of just changing the company, name, date. Please, applying for a job is actually a job on it. So let's take it as a job.
It's a job.
It is a job on it. So let's, commit the time. It's something you do intentionally. And I would always also add this. There will be lots of no's. There will be lots of no's. But don't give up because of the no's. By the time the yeses start coming, I will share my own experience again. I got a job as a technical support officer with UFS, of which I had lectured with UFS prior to that. I worked for 3 days and picked my current job because the yeses now kept coming consistently. So when you are receiving the no's, please don't give up. Because the point when we give up, what I realize is that point when we think, oh, I've applied so much, I've sacrificed so much, I want to relax. Funny enough, those applications when you feel like relaxing, those ones usually come with yeses. From most of our experiences here. So please don't give up. That's the key word. And don't use the same resume, the same cover letter. Tune it to what the job actually needs. Thank you.
Thank you very much, everyone. I hope we've learned 1 or 2 things. And if we still have any questions, you can reach out to me personally. I'll be available to take your call. So we will take a minute to pray and commit, our journey as immigrants into the hands of God, because we still can't leave God out of the picture. We will commit, all our endeavors into God's hands, so that God will channel our path in the right direction, so that we will not be running around in futility, we will not be chasing what is not ours, but God will lead us so that we'll be able to get what we desire in the name of Jesus. I want us to pray. I want us to pray and thank God for this journey that we have stepped into a new country. Thank God for the milestones of the achievements you've had. Thank God for all that He has brought your way, for the blessings of the people that you have met that has, helped you in one way or the other. Commit the rest of your plans into God's hands and pray that God will order men that will help you to come your way. God will stand you out even as you begin to apply for these jobs. God will send helpers your way for every action or decision or things that you need for this journey in the name of Jesus. In Jesus' name we have prayed. Amen. Heavenly Father, we thank you. Thank you for helping us, oh God, even as immigrants into this land of Canada. Thank you because we know that, Lord, our expectations of you shall not be cut short. Thank you because we know that we have a good heritage in you. Thank you because we know that you will make our steps to be ordered by you. As we have come to this land, every aspiration and every desire that we have, God, you will crown everything with good success in the name of Jesus. Let the Spirit of God guide us, oh God, even to all truth, everything that we need to know, everything that we need to do. Father, begin to channel all our effort to that direction in the name of Jesus. Amen. And let it be well with us in Jesus' name. Amen. Thank you for all that you have done for us. Glory be to your wonderful name. In Jesus' name we have prayed. Amen. Amen.